Guys, welcome back to the Strong AF Club podcast. Today we're filming episode 17. As always, I'm your co-host Nate Craig, joined by
Asim.
And guys, today we're going beyond the games. We're talking about ego, we're talking about AI, and the psychology of strength. So kind of have a hodgepodge of questions here for you, Asim. Some thought-provoking ones. First one, do you think AI is going to replace personal trainers or just change how coaches do things forever? It's so easy for people now to just go to ChatGPT and have it punch in a program. What are you thinking? Are we going to have jobs?
Oh, yeah, we're all fucked. So fucked. AI and training. I feel like there was like two questions in there. So the first part was,
do you think AI is going to replace personal trainers?
I think it's going to replace bad personal trainers.
Okay.
So let me elaborate on that.
Yeah.
What I think a lot of people in the industry don't realize is we're not in the business of training. We're in the business of experience and education. So I don't think anyone should pay for a personal trainer unless accountability is truly the reason you need one. I don't think anyone should pay someone to just make them sweat. You can Google a free program and you can just go to the gym with a buddy.
Right.
I think the reason you should pay a personal trainer is for technical expertise, real-time adjustments and coaching. That accountability does play a factor, but education above all. Let's just lump all that into education.
Okay.
The experience and the education should be the top priority. We're in the business of experience. If you walk in this gym and you leave feeling the same or worse, we fucked up. If you walk in this gym and you leave feeling better and now you can't wait to come back, we did our job. That can also be done without necessarily having a personal trainer. That can be done with good culture. So I think AI will override a lot of shitty trainers. Those who just write programs, don't educate their clients, and don't actually try to be a student of their craft and actually care about those clients. Don't connect with them. Don't try to actually listen. Like at that point, those people who are just like babysitters are going to get taken over for sure. It's going to make our lives way easier.
Interesting. Because I heard somebody else kind of talk about just the topic of AI. Like some engineers that I work with were thinking, like, are we going to have jobs coming up soon? And the CEO of the company I work for put it brilliantly. And it kind of relates to what you just said. Planes fly themselves these days. Why do we have pilots? You know?
What was his answer?
It was because you need somebody to know what's going on just in case shit hits the fan. So like you said, if you're a crappy personal trainer, you know, don't really know what you're doing, just trying to make a quick buck sort of thing, that's going to become very evident very fast with the power of AI. But those that are experienced, that know what to tweak real time, like you said. Yeah, I don't know if AI threatens that necessarily.
I don't think that AI threatens. I think it becomes a force multiplier. Like we use AI in some of our automation on like the website stuff and some of the like billing things. Like we leverage AI in certain capacities, but like I tried at one point because someone asked me like, wouldn't it just be easier instead of handwriting every program, which is what I do?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it just be easier just to try using ChatGPT? And honestly, sure. First, that's a skill in itself. You need to know how to ask good questions.
True.
And I think
people overlook that.
And I think people don't know how to ask good questions. And I would argue, because I heard this in a podcast recently, I've been throwing this back and forth in my head. The quality of a question can be correlated with the intellect of the asker. And I'm not sure if that is a true statement. I'm still debating that in my head. But if you're dumb and you don't know how to ask good questions, you're kind of fucked with AI, in my opinion. So I think, yeah, so anyways, I tried using it and just to see what would happen. I gave it like a parameter, gave it a scenario, asked for a response. And if I didn't have the filter and knowledge that I already had, I would have looked at that and been like, oh, this is great. But when I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's a dead end, or that's going to injure someone. Example, there are programs out there are companies out there who leverage AI apps who will learn your behavior and build a workout for you week to week based on past inputs. The issue is human error, because they rely heavily on you telling the app how good you feel, what's your RPE feeling for that set.
So many variables.
Dude, so many people are like, oh, that set was an RPE of 7. Rate of perceived exertion is what that RPE means. Is on a scale of 1 to 10. RPE is how you felt. It's a reflection of how you felt after the set. RIR is how much you think you could have done beyond that set.
Yep.
Big difference. So I think most lifters, intermediate and new, have not hit the literal walls enough times to know where their 10 really is. So they're going to do something, get overly cocky and say, oh, that was an 8. Oh, that was a 7. And they either undershot or overshot themselves. And what ends up happening, because I've been on one of these programs before in the past, and me and my boy Clay, we both tried it, and all it did for everybody in the chat was got them injured because it would overshoot. If you told it at all, you felt even 70% good, the amount of volume it would give you is absolutely bananas. Without the human intervention, being able to look at that and be like, it's not realistic for a working adult to do 16 fucking sets of a squat in a singular session, then it's going to give you ridiculous things, ridiculous outputs. So you have to be intelligent if you're going to utilize AI to then be able to sift afterwards, look at the work and say, okay, is this actually viable? Can this actually be used?
Right.
So I think it's going to overtake bad trainers. I think it's going to overtake lazy trainers. I think it's going to, because you got to think about it. Let's just backtrack. What the fuck's a personal trainer? To get certified in personal training is so it's so painfully easy. It's ridiculous. If you fail a personal training test, you're retarded. It is crazy how fucking easy it is to get certified. And all you need to do is 2 things. You need to get certified in something that is accredited, meaning it can get you insured. Now, which certification you choose is dependent on the facility you're going to go work out, because some places have their hands in other pockets. So say X, I'm not going to say the names of the certifications, but say this certification is a gold standard because it's the most prominent in these bigger chains. That's just the one they partnered with. They get a discount, they get a kickback, etc. They have a whole program going. But if you go to like an independent gym, like how we are, or other ones, they really just give a shit. Can we insure you? Can insurance cover you, etc. So I think personal training barrier to entry is so freakishly low. I'm trying to think. I think, what do you do for work again? Remind me.
IT project management.
You probably went through more training in your onboarding than, backtrack. Our trainers here will go through more training and onboarding with us than they will in order to get that certification.
100%, I believe
Because
that.
I do not trust those fucking certs at all. They're so easy to cheat and so simple.
It's all the same. I mean, even in my other line of work, people cram for tests.
Yeah.
And cram for that stuff. And a lot of times I've noticed with certifications and stuff like that, yeah, you cram for it, and then 2 months later, half of it.
100%. And it's like, if you just memorize answers on a study guide that you saw on Squibbit or whatever the fuck, then yeah, or Quizlet, then yeah, you can go get certified. And all these tests have the answers on there because the companies are too lazy to change their tests every single time. It's the same test for like 2 years straight, right?
Yeah.
So the problem is the barrier to entry is so low, so the amount of people that do it is so fucking high, but the threshold of how many are good is so small that I think the majority of the body of personal trainers will become obsolete. There will always be people who need to go to a physical gym. That just has to happen. Not everyone can have the luxury of having a home gym or their own gym. So you will have to go into a gym. Someone will always need accountability. Someone will always need guidance. And someone will always need someone else to tell them what to do because they can't tell themselves to do it. So personal training will never go away. It's gonna stay. But I think a lot of trainers are gonna get overrun by AI and lose their jobs or just not get as much work because the AI is going to be doing a better job than them because they don't do the due diligence of actually becoming a master of their craft. They just get the piece of paper. They know how to work out. They maybe did football in high school and had a good coach that got them in shape, and they just maintain that shape going into their 20s. And now they're like, oh, well, I'm in shape. I like working out. I'm going to become a personal trainer. No, Joe Schmo got you in shape in football in high school because you didn't eat like an asshole and you just listened to him. And now you're in shape and now you just maintained it. The last 10 years, you look the same. Maybe you put on 5 pounds. Your numbers haven't really skyrocketed. You haven't really done anything different. And now you got a certification and now you're going to go train somebody and then you give them no results. And it's the same shit, different toilet. And that's how it is most places. So I think AI is going to overrun those obsolete trainers and it's going to overrun the lazy ones, but those who know how to leverage it, or it's going to be a force multiplier by a long shot.
Yeah.
And I think that gap between good and great and really shitty is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger the more AI gets utilized.
And I liked what you said. Well said, by the way. I liked what you said about it takes a certain level of intelligence in order to be able to query AI correctly to yield the results you want. And you just had me thinking. I'm imagining AI replace personal trainers and stuff like that. You seeing a client face to face, you know little things, can see certain little nuances, know maybe prior medical history, so many variables that people would overlook that. I feel like if you're just punching into an app, oh, I'm this tall, I weigh this much, how many sets of this should I do? There's too many variables
100%.
to account for, I think.
Yeah, and they don't like
Nothing beats that face to face. That's
nothing.
what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
nothing
say.
beats the face to face, especially like. And I'm not trying to sell people on personal training because I think you shouldn't pay for personal training unless you need education or accountability, or there's a technical thing that you need to work on. But outside of that, you should be able to learn how to do most of this stuff on your own. It is our job to give you the principles so you can eventually learn how to teach yourself these things. Which
Teach
is
a man to fish.
exactly.
Or
So I
woman.
think the AI is gonna be interesting because when it comes to like just a client utilizing it, they have to then trust that they're putting the right inputs in and right factors. The amount of people that come in with goals and they tell me what their goals are, they reach out to us. We have people hit us up every day on Instagram now. We get people DMing us every single day, reaching out to try to train. And when I start asking about their goals, I have to almost guide them through what to answer because they're like, oh, I want to get this and this. Okay, well, what does that mean? Because if you just punch in the AI, I want to get stronger and faster for jiu-jitsu with no other preliminaries of, but I train 3 days a week on the mats. 2 of those days are comp classes. 1 of those are very light. I work a 9 to 5. I have 3 kids. I have a shit sleep schedule. My diet isn't as great. I have this bum knee. I have a meniscus tear that happened 2 years ago. My shoulder's a little wonky because of this post that I did in this one training room. If you don't add all those layers of detail for the AI to then start sifting through, it's gonna be difficult. And the thing is that AI is really good for is it's really good for sifting through the internet to find common answers. But what AI hasn't done is it doesn't have its own personal experience doing that thing. So I think it's gonna be really hard to beat the human side of it because at the end of the day, we still need that human connection. But I think AI is gonna be a powerful tool. It's gonna overrun those who suck and that are not good, and it's gonna be hilarious to watch.
Look
But
out, suckers.
yeah, right. But I think AI is such a powerful tool to leverage. You'd be stupid not to figure out a way to use it.
I 100%.
I personally just draw the line at writing the programs, just from a moral thing from my end. I just won't let AI write programs for me.
It also keeps you sharp. If you're just relying on, yes, there has to be a certain level of intelligence to query chat or whatever you're using. But at the same time, if you just use that as a crutch over and over and over and over again, I feel like you start to lose
A good
that
example.
edge.
A good example of how I used AI, just an experiment to see on a mock program that I'm making right now. I wrote the program. I wrote it for a couple of weeks. I put the volume and intensity percentages that I would put in there. Obviously, it's going to be applied to many different people, so I can't put the actual numbers used. But I put the volume, I put the frequency, I put the exercise selection, I put the intensity, which is the percentage of the 1 rep max. And then I put it in AI, and I asked it to calculate the estimated tonnage, total amount of load lifted per week to week for the 6 weeks, and what is the percent of increase? Because what I wanted to make sure was my handwritten math correct? And can AI sift through that and see where I went flawed? Because if it was like 2.5%, 3%, 5% increases each week, great. But if it was like a 10, 15% in tonnage increase week to week, by week 6, someone's going to get buried. So I wanted to make sure that I'm using it as a way to fact check my math. At the end of the day, this is all math.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it and say, okay, how's the tonnage going? And it worked really well. Just earlier, I just had one of the local gym owners here, and I was telling him about how one of our other buddies, he turned 41. And dude, this is so sick. He turned 41, and for his birthday, he did 41 rounds at an open mat.
Oh my God.
So I was like, I want to know how long it'll take me to do 34 rounds, right? Because that's my next birthday. So I'm like 34 rounds.
Dude, even if it's a minute, that's a half an hour. That's a long
Dude, it was like
time.
3 hours and like 23 minutes if I did 34 5-minute rounds with a 1 minute rest. Now I'm kind of excited. I want to try it.
Oh my God.
But that'd be fucking miserable. But it's like, I would have had to sit there and calculate that by hand, but I just asked chat, calculate this. These are the parameters, and it gave me the math.
Supplement, yeah.
So I think it's good as a assistant, but being the brains is not the way. And I think too many people rely on Chat GPT or any of these AIs to really just do everything. The problem is doing that and not understanding what the outcome it is that you're looking for and understanding the substance of what you're asking it to do. And at least having a base understanding is like having a business and hiring a bunch of employees to run different departments you don't understand at all. It's like, I hire this person to run the website, this person to run billing, this person to run X, this person to run Y. And I have zero base level competency in any of those. I now cannot look at their work
and truly critique it.
And know if it was done right or wrong. Right. I just have to trust that they did it right. That's retarded. Like, that's just fucking stupid and irresponsible. Yeah. Like, you should at least know a base level of or understanding of what it is you're inputting and what it is that you're trying to get out. So you at least have a honest filter you can filter through that. It's like hiring people and not knowing how to do their job. Like, for example, you work here. I'm a firm believer, hire people smarter than you. What you do for us is you do what your position way better than I could do it. I knew how to do your position before you did it. So I understood at least at base level, the website, all that stuff, I did it myself. I needed to understand the base level so then I could at least speak to you and say, hey, don't like this, maybe this is what we have done. I like this, I don't like that. Otherwise, if you just did what you did and I looked at it and was like, oh, that's sick. But then there's all this other stuff that's broken. I would have never had the filter to look through that because I didn't have the experience of base knowledge. Does that make sense?
It does.
So it's like you guys each individually do your individual jobs better than I can. But I needed to understand those jobs. First, understand I needed someone there. And then secondly, to put someone there and be able to then have something to compare it against and be like, oh yeah, I kind of get what you're doing. That's good. But like, that's like jumping into ChatGPT and be like, do this, 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 and not understanding how long 16 fucking sets of squats are really going to take. If it says to do if it says to do 7 sets at 80% of your 1 rep max as a back squat, and you're a 545-pound back squatter, do you know how many fucking warm-up sets you got to do before you even get to the weight that you're going to then do the 7 sets for? You're not going to have time to do anything else. So that's a factor people don't think of is, okay, what's the percentage, what's the volume, what's the total tonnage, but also how long is it going to take that individual to get to those weights to then do all those sets? Okay, how much time do we have left over to do accessory work? You have to understand the client. You have to understand their capacity. You have to understand their training age and what they are able to do within the time frame that they're given. Because at the end of the day, you're still dealing with just adults that have real jobs, real lives. They don't have the luxury of making this a full-time job. So I think that is where the trainer comes in with experience. AI is a tool and it's a good assistant, but it's not a good replacement. But I do think those shitty trainers who are subpar will get replaced.
Peace out, guys.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, wow. AI stuff is always so interesting.
It's so fascinating the direction it's going in and the different ways you can leverage it. And it's like, I feel like every week or every other week, we're finding something else that we can utilize.
10 years from now, bro.
It's going to be crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like, what was it the other day? I'm not going to say the actual AI that we just, not discovered, but we messed around with you, Eric and I. But it's like, once I had that epiphany moment of like, oh, we could use this to do this thing. Like, that takes an entire process that we spend X amount of time doing and cuts that into like a snap. Like, think about that. Like,
how awesome is that?
And the scalability because of it is fucking crazy. So it's like allowing AI to do its job allows us all to focus on what we need to be focusing on while allowing this thing to be the wind in the sail. But we still need the ship and we still need to be pulling the strings. But we need the wind, and the AI is the one that's going to propel that.
Damn, that was good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I just made that shit up.
All right, next question. We're switching away from the AI.
All right, cool.
So this is just kind of, these are, again, hodgepodge of questions here. Number 2 is, do you think your body is just your ego's costume? And what do you think most people are really trying to prove? Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, fuck.
Trick or treat, bitches.
Yeah. Is our bodies our ego's
costume?
Yeah.
I think to an extent.
I think I agree. I'm curious what your opinion is on this because I'm still trying to formulate that in my head. That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I think to an extent, yes. To a lesser extent, no. I mean, I've seen some people with some not great bodies with some monster egos.
Okay, I'll say
vice versa.
Yes.
Some amazing physiques, but the most humble people.
I would say Now that you just said that, I'm going to say no. I don't think your body is an embodiment of your ego.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
I think your body is an embodiment of what your day looks like.
Ooh.
I think your body is a mirror to what reality is. Your ego lies to you and tells you what you think you are. Your body tells you what you actually do.
Oh, shit. I like that.
That's the way I would look at it.
Yeah,
I think
your body is a reflection of your day.
Yeah, it's a reflection of your habits.
Days, habits, yeah.
Yeah, it's a reflection of your lifestyle. It is everyone. If everyone starts at the same age, right? We're all born and whatever, and then we get to 40, hopefully, right? You get to 40. By like 40, 30, whatever, name an age that everyone gets to. It's like a blueprint. You can look at a body and look at the decades like a rock of water dripping and carving at it, and how it shaped this body to move and look the way it does. The habits, the lack of, the exposure, the lack of, all of it. Genetics plays a factor too, right? All of that plays into what you end up ultimately looking like, and it's always evolving, and there's never like it stops here. It just continues.
True.
And I think your body, barring medical, blah, 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 that's still part of that story, right? Your body is is your blueprint. It is your story. But it is the realist, and it is a mirror.
Does that automatically make you judge someone based on appearance?
I think naturally we have a subconscious judgment of physique that we don't think about. Some people do. I don't. I used to when I was younger. For sure, I used to. I used to think people that are overweight are lazy as fuck.
But you don't know what their history is.
I don't know why. See, that was the thing. In my early 20s, late teens, especially when I was much younger, and I just got into the field. Dude, I got into this field at 18. Like, I got in way younger than I should have, but I was blessed to have mentors way smarter than I that were willing to check me and keep me in my lane. So that helped me a lot. I think, a younger version of me judged heavily on physique. A built physique in my mind was someone who had control, someone who had discipline, someone who they had their stuff together and they had impulse control. Where someone who wasn't in shape didn't. That's the way I used to think. Mm-hmm. And then I started realizing what the world actually looked like and meeting real people and seeing what day-to-day life looks like for a lot of people.
Right.
And realize it goes a lot deeper than that. Is that far from the truth? I don't think it's far from the truth, but I think it is. There's more to it. A lot of people are the way they are because of life choices and lack of, period. True. And your body is a direct mirror of what your habits look like. And you can't escape that. That shit don't lie. But your ego will tell you otherwise. You know? And the ego will do two things. Your ego will tell you that you're better than you really are. Or it will lie to you and tell you, oh, I am here because of this. And I am, like your ego lies to you. That inner talk will always lie to you. And it will always tell you the story that you want to hear. But the mirror won't.
True.
The mirror will tell you the story you need to hear. But, yeah. I mean, that's whether it's looking at your bank account. Oh, dude, I'm fucking loaded. Look at your bank account. You're broke. It's like, yeah, because you could have been loaded, but you lack control and you just spent all your money. Dude, I could have been jacked because I lift all this weight. And you look in the mirror and you're not because your eating habits suck and you sit most of the day. It's like, yeah, I think that's a tough one, man. It's a sensitive one too. I think
I'm trying to stay politically correct here, not trying to get canceled. Sure. But at the same time, kind of what you're saying, I think, if you got a friend that's fluffy, don't judge them. You don't know what's going on. If they have some health condition, a thyroid issue, or whatever, there's a million things. That being said, I also don't use that as a crutch or an excuse as much because, like you said, still a reflection of habits. I've seen some people with some serious issues shed some serious pounds and have some amazing physiques, and guess what their day looks like? Very regimented. They're the kind of person making their bed in the morning. And
it's funny you say this, man. I remember one of my boys, Kian, shout out Kian. He sat in my office one day and, when was this? This is probably like 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Mm-hmm. Maybe like 2 years ago. He asked me a question and it just took me a while to like really think about this answer. But he asked me, he's like, why do you think that you can make the perfect program? Well, perfect is everyone's opinion has a different opinion what a perfect is. But he's essentially saying you make a very concise, clean program that's very It has a progression built into it. It's correct for the individual, relatively speaking. A nutrition plan that is pretty rock solid, pretty bulletproof. A habit tracker of habits they need to do every single day. You lay out the whole blueprint to get them from point A to point B to lose a bunch of weight. It's summertime. Let's just talk about weight loss. There's other goals too. Weight loss is not the only goal. But let's just use weight loss. And because that's what he was asking. He's like, why do you think it is that so many people try to lose weight and they're given all the tools and they can't, but few do? Like we had that lineup last year that lost an insane amount of weight collectively. Why do you think that is? And it took me a while to think about it. And it came to this thought of, I think it was called the region beta paradox. Essentially, I'm going to butcher it. It's probably, but the saying goes, if you had to go a mile, you would walk it. But if you had to go 2 miles, you would drive it. But inversely, if you would have just drove the 2 miles, the 1 mile, you would have got there faster. The way to adapt that to like what we're talking about or like a relationship is, if you're in a situation and it's bad, but not bad enough that it outweighs the pain of the change that you need to go to get to where you need to get to, you're not going to make change. I think I said on the last podcast, which is until the pain of change outweighs the pain of where you are, change will not happen. And I think too many people live in this region beta paradox where like their health is bad, but not bad enough. They are not happy with the way they look and the way they feel, but they don't have a death sentence hanging over them with the doctor's blessing, et cetera, So, for example, I told him, I was like, my biggest weight losses I've ever seen, and the people who have seen the fastest transformations in here, whether it's getting super jacked, getting a whole body recomposition, or just losing an insane amount of weight, happen after a divorce, happen after a breakup, a big breakup, happen after a health scare at the doctor's, or happen after like a family tragedy that pertained to something with their health.
Health related.
Yeah. I mean, shit, that's my story. When I was a junior in high school, I was hospitalized with pneumonia and I was stuck in the ICU, and I had anorexia growing up. And the doctors told me that I was only a few days away from dying if I didn't come in, because I avoided coming in. And I think I was 5'8", same frame, but I was 112 pounds. And that was enough of a scare for me to be like, I should probably go eat a fucking burrito and go pick up some weights, because this ain't it. And the story goes a lot deeper than that, but I don't want to bore everyone with that story. But essentially, I haven't seen a lot of big transformations unless someone hit rock bottom at subcapacity, or they have a strong motivational target they're aiming for. Like a wedding that means a lot to them, a competition, a fight where they're going to be exposed in front of a crowd. Those people see results. But if there's not like a clear-cut target or that you're running to or from, it's really hard for people to see change, because you have to fucking put down your daily habits every day and face yourself and tell your ego it's not okay.
Yeah.
And I think most people struggle because the polarizing ends aren't strong enough. Whether the goalpost you're chasing isn't big enough, or the boogeyman you're running from isn't big enough or scary enough. One of the two isn't motivating enough for you to get off the couch.
Yeah, true. I haven't gone through anything detrimental that kind of made me want to kick my butt in gear. I remember what made me want to start going to the gym, though. I was sitting in the shower, shampooing my hair, and I couldn't see I'll say feet. It's because my stomach. I couldn't see my feet, and I'm like, hey, I miss seeing that thing. Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to fix this. And I did. I started running that day.
Oh my fucking God.
Or the next day.
Yeah, and you lost so much weight too. It was crazy. That was a crazy weight loss.
Yeah, it was like 50, 60 pounds.
Yeah.
Put a couple extra on lately, but
hey man,
shedding it off now. At least I'm being honest.
You just reset back to the last patch.
Can't believe I just told that story.
Yeah, no, I think. What was the original question? I don't even fucking remember.
Is your body just your ego's costume?
No, I think your body is your mirror, and your ego is the liar in your head.
Fair. No. Yeah, I actually think I agree with that. Oh God.
I'm never gonna shower the same way again.
I know, right? Let's see here. Question number 3. Do you think most people would train as hard as they do if like Instagram and social media, YouTube didn't exist?
Fuck no.
Hell no.
Fuck no.
I don't know why I asked that.
Fuck no. Just open up Instagram. Any of you guys right now, pause the fucking episode. Open up Instagram if you do work out. If you're listening to this, you probably do. Open up Instagram and tell me how many
All right, give him a second.
insert name .fit you fucking see online.
Yeah.
Everyone change as soon as they start touching the weights and they see a little bit of a bump. They want to be a fitness influencer. They all of a sudden have something lifts, something fits, something whatever the fuck. And jujitsu is another one. Jujitsu, whatever the fuck, something jujitsu. It's like, no. If you didn't have someone to brag and show off to,
Yeah.
what my line I like to say is hashtag do it for the stripe.
Do it for the stripe?
Yeah, dude.
What does that mean?
Fucking people will always try to show people how much they are working and how much they're doing and that they showed up to classes, do all that stuff because they want to get that stripe. Like that piece of fucking tape is the funniest motivator I've ever seen in jiu-jitsu. It is absolutely bananas how much weight that thing holds in people's minds. But anyways, I think
There's no way if Instagram and stuff didn't exist, people would work it. Even myself. I remember when I told you about my rock bottom. Oh, whoopsies. About the next phase of that when I started to, look a little bit better. Hey, I don't look like a fucking grub anymore. This is cool. I'd post some workouts and stuff like that. And I'm not going to lie. Some of the attention was nice. Just from people saying nice things like, dude, awesome transformation. And that kind of acted as a catalyst for me to want to post more.
Yeah.
What that progressed to now is I realized it did become, if I'm being quite honest with myself, I was more posting just for the clout kind of thing. And I asked myself, that's not what I want at the end of the day. 100%. So now it's kind of shifted.
But I also think you're in a different category than some of the people who are going to be listening to this because you work in a company that does this.
True.
So you're you're attached to a brand that is built off of that stuff. So that's a little different. Like it's not their job. It is ours. Mm-hmm. But if there wasn't social media telling you that the image of success is this dude wearing an overly tight father and son's button up in a lavish condo in Miami with a hot ass girl with fake tits, and he's making millions of dollars at 23 years old, driving a Lambo, doing who the fuck knows what, selling you a course online on how to do what he just did.
You can do it too.
You can do it too.
Buy the seminar.
And so everyone just sees all these people online, and they then reflect against that and compare against that and say, oh, to be successful, these are the traits they have. They're jacked. They have a hot girl. They have nice cars. They have the nice jewelry, nice clothes. And that will lead to success. I have watched so many people try to wear their success and so many people try to wear their wealth to then eventually, hopefully, be that person that they don't realize that you're not going to get to where you want to get to if you try to just visually look like the person you're trying to look.
You don't think fake it till you make it?
No, because you need to look at the habits that person did every single day to become successful. People don't look at the habits because that shit's painful and not sexy and it's actually hard. They look at the clothes they're wearing, they look at the cars they're driving, they look at the girls or the guys they're with, and they look at their physiques and say, oh, to get all this stuff, to have that lifestyle, I need to have these things. But what they don't realize is they have these things because of their habits that got them to that success to allow them to have that lifestyle. You don't change your habits, you just change what you're wearing. You don't change your habits, you just try to change all this other shit. I think...
That's why, dude, you say, sorry to interject, but... Exactly what you're saying. It's like you'll see some totally out of shape, just bum in the gas station sometimes wearing fake Gucci or what. Everybody's seen it. It's like everybody knows that's not real. You just look like a clown.
And don't get me wrong, I like my nice shit.
Oh, same.
And 100%. And I have my stuff. But I had someone the other day ask me, they're like, how come you don't wear like your chains or necklace or anything like that in the gym? Why are you always dressed like, dude, half the shit I wear is free. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, first of all, I'm not a bozo that's going to wear my wealth. That's stupid. And secondly, it's like, that's not the point. These are just like accolades or like little tokens I got along the way of the video game. But I still got to play the fucking game, right? They're just things I acquired over the time. But they were a symptom of the habits. They don't come before the habits, right? They came after the habits. And I think too many people with social media will look at that and it leads to like a fucking really unhealthy psychological place.
It does.
The amount of fucking grown ass adults tell me they're taking a detox from Instagram and TikTok is crazy to me. The fact that you have to detox from social media tells me there's already a fucking problem with it and how you perceive it and how you use it.
Yeah.
If you have to, it's like people who detox from, like take detoxes with their nutrition. They detox their diet. They take these 30-day detoxes. Like you wouldn't have to fucking detox if your diet wasn't shit.
Or, no offense, the people that do dry January, I'm calling you out. You shouldn't have to do dry January.
That's
the
a
only
problem
people
in
that do
itself.
that are the people that have a problem. No offense. And I've done it, by the way.
Yeah, if you have to do
Not
dry
doing it this
January,
year.
then you got a fucking problem because it's like
You shouldn't be going that hard in the first place.
you should have self-control.
Yes.
And I think that's like where people misconstrued disciplined people and like all these people and self-control. It's like I think discipline is the ability to have impulse control. Doing the same thing every fucking day just means your day's easy or you're just a creature of habit. But I think, yeah, dude,
You just answered question 4, which was, do you think people are truly disciplined that have regimented days like that, or just addicted to control? And your definition of go ahead.
Yeah. So on that last one, I'm just going to say social media. If social media wasn't there, most people wouldn't do what they do. I think more people would be happier because they wouldn't then base their happiness based on what someone else's life looks like.
True.
They would live the life they want to live instead of living the life they think they should live. Mm-hmm. I think they would have the physiques they're actually comfortable with rather than the physiques that they think is acceptable. I think they would have their partners and the relationships and the vehicles and the jewelry and the clothing that they actually enjoy, not the ones they think that's going to get the attention. Too many people do too much shit for social media, for clout, not realizing that all it is window shopping someone else's life. You don't get to see what the rest of the house looks like. You don't even see the foundation. All you see is that fucking window and what's being presented on the front. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think without social media, things would be better, and not because social media is bad. I think social media is great. It's a great weapon. I just think people don't fucking have the self-control to use it correctly, because we wouldn't have these detox things happening if you didn't know how to use it correctly. For example, I don't watch politics. I have a fucking TV. I have no cable. I watch Avatar: Last Airbender and Castlevania on fucking repeat. When I'm online, I am so protective of my mental diet. It's ridiculous, because I used to be the guy who would watch social media online. I mean, well, not watch social media. I watch news online, political, whatever the fuck. And I would spiral into rabbit holes that I had no control over because I can't control what the fuck's happening in the world, right? So now, if it's not lifting, if it's not jujitsu, if it's not dogs, I don't consume it. It's always knowledge. I'm always acquiring knowledge. I'm watching dogs do dog shit because I love dogs. Mm-hmm. I'm watching lifters do things that I haven't seen or do things better so I can learn. I try not to watch too much lifting, though. I try to watch more theory than I watch people work out. And then jiu-jitsu, just the same thing. It's more principle rather than the technique itself, because then you're majoring in the minors, focusing on the wrong part of that item. Outside of that, I try not to fucking listen. People would, like the political stuff that's happening. And we're not going to get into that.
No.
Definitively, we're not going to get into that. But I don't give a fuck. Not that I don't care what's happening. I just don't want it in my head because it's going to cause too much unnecessary stress. Exactly. And that is the thing, is people allow too much unnecessary stress on their plate, and they freely and willingly consume it on a daily basis and wonder why they feel like shit. It's because you're putting poison in your diet on a daily basis, and you don't protect it because you think the diet stops at the fork. But it continues onto your phone and on your screen and in the book and in your friends.
The mental diet. I remember that term, mental diet. Yes. I love that.
It's so fucking important, and that is even more important to protect than anything else, because if you allow all this shit, even the people you hear, like if you're around people and all they do is talk negative shit right out of the gates and they complain, first thing you say, hey, what's up, Nate? How are you feeling? That's all. I'm okay. Well, fuck me. Here's the energy vampire. I'm not asking you again. You know, it's like. But if I accept that, and then I continue to ask that, and I keep getting that, eventually you're going to ask me, how's your day? I'm like, that's okay. Mm-hmm. It's like, how about you change your lens of how you're looking at your day? It's a blessed day. Right?
Yeah. For me, I heard somebody say, you know what? I forget that saying. There's something having to do with, like, would you... It had to do with $1 million and waking up the next day. I forget, but do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what quote you're saying.
And it's like everybody would obviously rather wake up than that's what it is. Would you rather wake up tomorrow or have $1 million?
Wake up tomorrow.
A lot of people, people are like, I want to wake up tomorrow. So by that logic, waking up tomorrow is worth more than $1 million. What are you about to do with it?
Dude, there's another quote like that too, where they're talking about like sickness, and it's like, you don't realize the value of health until you're sick. It's like when people like pray to God, like we're not getting into that religious shit, but it's so funny how many people are like, when they're in trouble, they get arrested or they're too drunk, or they're like, oh my God, please help me. If you're there, help me. It's like, Bitch, what about when shit was good?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And I don't even know how the fuck we got into that subject.
Yeah.
But
Oops.
social media, I think if it wasn't there, most people's lives would be better. And it's not because social media is bad. I just don't think people know how to actually utilize it because of their own internal stuff they need to work on. And not saying it's negative, necessarily bad. It's just identify you have self-work you need to work on so you can leverage this tool correctly. Because if you're on this platform and you can't filter through the fact that that is probably a fake, that's fake skin, that's filter, that's probably AI, especially this day and age. AI just, back on the AI thing, it's hard to tell sometimes because AI is getting so good.
Dude, it's starting to trick even my fiance. I'm like, you're not even 80 yet. You're not supposed to be confused by this. It's getting good.
Yeah, it's getting very good. So I think social media is not the problem. I think the users using social media are the problem. And if you find yourself having to detox from something, then it's probably a problem. You only need to detox from things that are toxic.
Or else it wouldn't be called detox.
Exactly.
Hey.
So maybe don't do it in the first place. Crazy.
I like
Crazy
it.
thought. Who the fuck?
Crazy. That's
don't listen
wild.
to me though. I'm just some guy.
And then last question. This is a totally different one. Why do you think so many lifters that are serious about the gym hate rest days? And what does that kind of say about them? I think they hate rest days because they're addicted to the hustle.
I think they're addicted to hustle, but I also think they're being lazy if they miss workouts. True. This is not a green light to miss workouts, but I think they're being lazy by missing workouts. I also think it's a part of their routine and like momentum. They roll in any direction. So if they give themselves rest days, they give themselves more rest days. But I think also when it comes to lifting specific, I think a small group of that demographic are just lacking knowledge. And what I mean by that is if the only form of exercise you can wrap your head around is lifting weights, and you can't fathom that you can get exercise doing anything else, you will always try to lift weights. And then when the time comes where you're traveling and or you're sick and you can't lift weights, the negative self-talk is going to be unbearable. But you have to understand, fitness can come in any shape and form. It could look like a kettlebell. It could look like a swing. It could look like a basketball. It could look like a jiu-jitsu gi. It could look like a barbell.
It could look like a nurse on her feet 12 hours during a shift.
And it could look like running shoes under your feet outside where the outside is free, right? So it's like fitness could be anything. If you box your mind into only thinking you can work out today based on lifting, then yeah, you're gonna be very limited and you're gonna feel like you have to lift every day. It was the most liberating feeling for me, the most liberating train of thought that I went through in my early 20s, one of the most, was when I realized that. Because I was that guy who I had to have my hand on a bar every fucking day. To the point where I wouldn't travel. If I traveled, I had to make sure wherever we were going had a barbell gym. We weren't allowed to do anything. I wasn't allowed to do anything until I got my lift out of the way. Then we would go doing excursions and go travel around and visit and explore. But I didn't allow myself to live life because I lived to lift. I didn't lift to live. And that's the problem is when you live to lift and the rest of your life is intermission in between those sessions, which is how I spent up to like 26, 25 years old,
sounds like empty.
It's empty. And then when I can't lift, what the fuck do I have? Because part of it's like your therapy, which is why I tell people don't use lifting as therapy. And it's escapism. It's another form of escapism. You're just trying to run away or block out the things that you have problems. Granted, yeah, the barbell is better than the bottle for sure. But you're still putting a Band-Aid on a problem that's still there. So I think when you start opening your eyes to realizing that fitness can go beyond the barbell and you don't always have to squat, bench, deadlift, and whatever the fuck exercise you like to do, and that today it could be something completely different, you will never be free. Like in the past, it would be like, I lift, I do jiu-jitsu, that's good. But if I don't lift and I do jiu-jitsu, I failed. Now it's like, okay, well, I didn't lift today. I did jiu-jitsu. I'm just going to do more jiu-jitsu. Now I feel pretty good. And now I'm just going to do something else tomorrow. And now I'm okay with that. So liberating. No stress. Go to bed really good at night. But rewind like 8 years ago, I've been fucking ripping myself apart for missing a lift.
Yeah.
And that is part of the reason why my jiu-jitsu was so inconsistent early on, because I refused. If I had to pick between jiu-jitsu and lifting, it was always going to be the lift. It was never going to be jiu-jitsu. And there was times where I had to pick. So I would just pick the lift because I couldn't fathom jiu-jitsu being something that could help me physically. Because I always equated fitness to strength and strength to the barbell. but I never looked at it as dynamic as I do now.
Interesting.
And you don't have to work out for a fucking hour to get a good workout in. I realized that really fast. Do one round on the bike, Tabata, for 4 minutes, and you realize real fucking quickly, or push-ups, you realize real quickly you don't need to lift for an hour. 4 minutes is enough to cook you.
And I like what you said, like, don't lift to live. Or maybe it's reversed.
Don't live to lift, lift to live.
To live.
Everything you do outside the gym should be enhanced by what you do in your fitness. Your fitness shouldn't disable you from living. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, and that's... So while I agree, the gym shouldn't be therapy. You shouldn't treat it like therapy kind of thing. Because
it is therapeutic.
It's therapeutic because I think...
Just like the sun is.
Naturally, or touching grass, some kind of physical exertion does just release endorphins or something.
Yes.
Today I was running and I felt it. I was like, oh my God, I feel good. But yeah.
No, I 100% agree. But like sitting outside in the sun, touching grass, I love that line. But sitting outside in the sun, touching grass, getting a sweat, sitting in a sauna isn't therapy, but it is therapeutic. Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying.
It makes you feel good, but it's not going to solve your problems. You're not unpacking shit. You're just feeling good from it. So it's therapeutic. Like a massage is pretty therapeutic. Feels pretty good. But you didn't unpack anything. Does that make sense?
It does. Well,
you said something before that. It was the question right before that. You said I answered.
It was, do you think people that are super regimented and disciplined are they truly disciplined or just addicted to control?
No. I think someone who is disciplined has impulse control and self-control.
I was about to
say. So
yeah.
if you could do the same thing every single day, that's not impressive. But if you can do the same thing every single day, have a wrench thrown in your schedule, and then you pivot and then continue on, that's impressive.
You adapt to that.
You adapt to it. So I think people who have impulse control are more impressive than people who can just do the same thing every day. Because if you live a really boring, mundane, gray life, and it just looks the same every single day, that really that impressive? That's not discipline. You just do the same shit all the time.
Yeah.
Discipline is self-control and impulse control. That's my opinion. That's not scientific. I've never actually Googled what the definition is of it. And I'm not going to. It's just.
That's your definition.
That's my definition.
That's what it is now.
That is what it is now. Fucking Wikipedia put that in there. But I think, what is it, Gemini or whatever it is? What is it, Google's AI?
Yeah, I think it's Gemini.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
But anyways, I think Chat is better. I think, I think discipline is not, can you do something every single day? It's can you adapt to day-to-day stressors and do the things you need to do? And can you say no to the things you want to do? When you need to say no. Because a lot of people lack impulse control and they just say, I'm very disciplined. I work out every single day. It's like, you work.
But then you
work out every single day, but you eat like shit. You don't do the other things you need to do. You don't do your fucking laundry. You can't do this and that. It's like, okay, you do 1 hour of your day well every single day because it's your version of escapism, because it's really easy to work out 1 hour a day. That's so fucking crazy easy. It's wild. But there are 23 hours and no one's watching you. You can't keep your shit together. You're not disciplined.
It does crack me up how regimented and people try to perfect that 1 hour in the gym. Oh, should I be drinking a muscle milk in between these sets? Or I need to have protein within the first 10 minutes after working out, all that kind of stuff. And then the other 23 hours of the day. It's like, imagine if you took that same effort and transferred it to the rest of the day.
It's like people who are like, they know I love my drinks over there, but they know I love like Ghost Energy drinks and like Alani's. I don't drink them as much as I used to, but I still love them. I'm not going to stop. And they're like, oh, but aspartame, but the artificial sweeteners. And it's like,
it's delicious.
Do you apply that same energy to everything else you do in your life? No? Then shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to cherry pick how clean a drink is, but then you eat like shit all day, sleep like shit all night, you digest shit content all day, you don't work out, you sit most of the day, you don't treat your body right with mobility, drink shitty water, but you're worried about the fucking aspartame, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
You're majoring in the minors. Too many people are really good at majoring in the minors because that's the only time when people are watching. It's really easy to be on point when you're in a gym and everyone's watching you, but what are you doing the other 23, 24 hours, 22 hours when no one is watching you? Can you hold yourself accountable?
I think that is a good stopping point right there. A little thought-provoking hook for y'all. Well, guys, as always, thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and keep the questions coming. We really appreciate the support.
Got me spicy today.
Ooh.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.